Good afternoon, I'm Elizabeth Miller, and today I'm going to be talking about EEOC initiated litigation, case law, developments in 2011, and trends to watch for in 2012. In this case, it studies numerous different classes of discrimination, and three of the cases that I'm going to talk about include the ADA, the ADEA, and religion, but the article also covers religion, race, sex, pregnancy, gender, sexual harassment, and retaliation claims, and it goes into detail and tries to establish prima facie cases and goes through the steps to determine whether or not the employee or the employer has a case. The first one is the EEOC versus the Journal Disposition Corporation. The EEOC filed a claim on the employee's behalf, alleging that the employer discharged the employee and refused to offer reasonable accommodation after his short-term disability was used up. The employee was diagnosed with cancer, and at the end of his disability term, he was unable to return to full-time work. He did ask his employer for a reasonable accommodation, asking for shorter work hours and a shorter work week, but the employer refused, and their reason was an undue hardship, that it would place an undue hardship on them. Now, the EEOC provided evidence to prove against the undue hardship. The employer never hired to fill the position, and they also never paid for overtime hours due to loss of loss of productivity. So their motion for summary judgment was denied in this case because of that reason, and the law has been applied by the ADA requiring that a member of a protected class not be discharged against because of their disability status. And also, they are required to offer reasonable accommodation if it does not place an undue hardship. And the next case is a ADEA claim, and that is the EEOC versus ExxonMobil Corporation. The EEOC filed a claim alleging that the employer's policy was a violation of the ADA because of the age restriction placed on their pilots. The employer argued that their policy was supported by the FAA and their regulations, stating that any employee over the age of 60 was a flight risk due to possible health incidents during flight. But the EEOC provided evidence and statements by the FAA stating that they no longer supported the age-based policy. Now, the policy prevents any pilot over the age of 60, but the BFOQ for this case lacked validity. The EEOC intends to provide evidence rebutting the validation of these tests. But the outcome of this case was not stated in the article itself. But in my opinion, for the employer to place an age restriction for their pilots, it does set up sort of a proxy for discrimination. It's preventing certain classes to be hired for those positions, maybe even denied for certain certain positions as well. And the last case is a religion claim, and that is the EEOC versus Abercrombie & Fitch. It is a claim that is filed against Abercrombie on behalf of an employee due to their look policy, and the potential employee was denied or was not hired because she had a head scarf on when she was in her interview, and was denied employment because the company said that it would place an undue hardship on them. It would cause a decrease in sales and also be would also affect their brand and sales as well. The employee claimed that they found evidence against, the EEOC claimed that they found evidence against their look policy and that they made exceptions to their look policy on 9 separate occasions, but they couldn't do that for the employee or the potential employee in this case. Now, the potential employee has a case against the company because it is her religious obligation to wear the headscarf, and since the company has allowed in the past other employees to wear caps or bows in their hair during work hours, it's evidence to prove that they have made exceptions to this rule, and the look policy is really sort of a barrier for that religious group. And that is pretty much the end of my presentation today, and thank you for your time.